You are about to witness the very exciting story that will open new sights in familiar surroundings.
The atomic age was born.
It is a story of a city seeking new horizons in a resolute contest with great challenges.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Green Time. I'm your host, John Hickey with the Missouri Sierra Club. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about residential energy efficiency. Many of you watching in TV land are going to be writing a check every month to Ameren and Maplewood Gas and whoever your utility is. We're going to talk about how can you bring down the cost of that bill while making your home more comfortable and your house more valuable. We've got two people who are going to tell the story of what they did in their homes and what those results were. Let me introduce Steve Mahfood. Thanks for being with us, Steve. And Jim Jordan. Thanks for being with us, Jim.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. So let me start with you, Jim. What did you do with your house in terms of energy efficiency measures, and how did you figure out which ones to do?
So I was in a situation in which we owned a wonderful old historic house, and we have a multiply disabled son. So it got to the point that we had to find an accessible house, which we couldn't do. So the opportunity came up to build a house. So we designed the house, which today I think a lot of people are looking to be accessible, age in place, as well as sustainable. And at that time, I was able to design in a lot of the energy conservation measures, and after that, add on also. But that's just one part of the story, and I'll mention others and we'll come back to it. The second part is looking at choices. I don't give up anything in my lifestyle, but I make choices that, one, save money, and two, save resources. And that the third one, this is going to sound funny, but always listen to your grandmother, because our elders lived in a time that it wasn't convenience. It was, how do we make life better for ourselves and our neighbors, living conservation-wise? And whenever I look at a choice, I try to look at it through my grandparents' eyes.
What's it, for example?
For example, my grandparents had summer kitchens in which they cooked either on a porch or a basement. So I never heat up the house in the summer to cook. If I bake, I use a convection microwave oven. I have pizzas in the summer, I make bread, but I never heat up that humongous oven. And then I have hot plates or inductive cookers or other things, and I have a porch. So I never run my air conditioner, but I never give up any type of food that I want to eat, run air conditioning extra. I never remove my cooking heat from my house. That's always outside.
Interesting.
And people call me crazy.
No, but 100 years ago, you'd have been just like everybody else.
So some things I can't do what my grandparents do, but I always ask the question.
And I'm curious with when you built a new house, were you able to use any of the utility rebates from Ameren or Maplewood Gas for a new build, or is that only for retrofitting existing homes?
So when we built our house, there were very few energy rebates through Ameren.
When did you do that? When did you build?
It was about 13 years ago.
Okay, yeah, because the utility rebate programs really got big in 2007.
Right.
So that's only, 9 years ago?
Right, but I did take advantage of it when I installed solar afterwards.
Ah, okay. And we're going to get back to solar, because I think solar and energy efficiency are really two sides of the same coin. Steve, what's your energy efficiency story?
Well, John, we have a little bit different situation. I had lived in an energy efficient home for many years, based on some of the old ways of doing energy efficiency, 30 years old, moved back to St. Louis area and bought a house that was 35 years old, and bought it with the idea got a great price on it because all the major systems were not functioning very well. So made the choice of this is a great opportunity to replace those systems with the money we've saved on the purchase of the house, and things like heating and cooling system, appliances, lighting, additional insulation, windows, some of the things that are pretty commonly done to make a house more energy efficient. Plus, we made a pact with ourselves that we would continue to make energy conservation part of our lives, which meant doing some of the things like Jim just spoke of, thinking about cooking, thinking about heating and cooling, but never sacrificing. Always lived our lives with comfort, but could be done by being much more aware of your own home and your surroundings and the natural environment. We tried to do, interestingly, to do solar, but one of the things we chose was a house that was in the middle of mature trees. It was in the middle of a forest, literally, right where we are. And so it was either sacrifice the majority of the trees or keep the trees and have the shade, which provides also an advantage in the summertime. So, of course, we chose the trees. And
I've heard that actually you save more electricity by the trees than if you cut the trees down and put solar on there, because then the sun would heat up your house and then you're running the air conditioning because you don't have the trees anymore.
Yes, that was not a difficult decision. Although we would have loved to have had the ability to add solar, it just was one of those things that were important. And in the middle of that, the timing we had was perfect from what you were mentioning earlier. 2007, 2008 is when we did this work. So we took advantage of the rebates on the heating and cooling system, appliances, lighting. We had a multitude of rebates. They were significant, but they didn't pay for everything. You've got to make a commitment on your own, but they helped us make that decision. So we took older home, brought it up to snuff, and we're continuing to, as we see little things that we're doing even personally that aren't very smart from an energy standpoint, we're trying to correct those. And then if something comes along that would be more efficient than what we've done or could add to it, we're keeping our eyes out for that also.
And imagine if your house was 35 years old, that's probably many of our viewers right now are thinking, well, my house is 30, 40, 50 years old as well.
Yes.
But Jim, I cut you off.
But Steve mentioned something, bringing it up to snuff. And for every dollar that you put into energy conservation, caulking, tightening up your windows, putting even a rolled up blanket in the wintertime at your door, that would be equivalent to spending $5 to $7 in the fancy technology such as solar. So it's much more economical to save energy than to go out and do technology. And that translates to don't go out and buy solar right away until you've tightened up your house. And they say in an old house, it would be equivalent to a 3-foot by 3-foot opening. That's how much air exchange you have. So you have to tighten that up. Otherwise, you're going to be heating the outside air.
Yeah, I talked to a fella who has solar, and then after he did the solar, he did the energy efficiency, and he told me, boy, I did it backwards, because if I'd have done the energy efficiency first, I could have installed a smaller solar system and saved money on that, and as well as made the house more comfortable, because one of the real values, it seems to me, of energy efficiency is it makes your home more comfortable. That attic insulation not only means you write a smaller check to Laclede Gas, but you're not chilly when you're sitting around your house in the wintertime and wondering why you're so cold.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what's one, for example, say a short example, Steve, of one project you did where you're able to get a utility rebate where you felt like it was a success?
Well, at the time, it was basically the heating and cooling system. It had
So your
a
furnace and
very
your air conditioning.
furnace, and this house had heat pumps, which I'm not a big fan of heat pumps. I tried to go to a ground source heat pump. It's one of these things where the cost was so prohibitive. The difference being replacing a system with rebates for the house with super high efficiency. In fact, the most efficient air-to-air heat pump was with rebates, $3,000, just to give you a feeling for this. And the ground source heat pump, the best bid I could get was $36,000.
Yeah,
So the difference is, I would love to have done that just because I was wealthy, just because it was the right thing to do, if you could.
Yeah, it
But-
seems ground source is easier with new construction when you're already
Yes.
tearing it up, but
Yes.
Yeah, but let
as a
me add-
retrofit. Hold that
Yeah.
one thought. We're going to take a short break. We're going to watch a video about making your voice heard in the ballot box, then we'll be right back.
This land is your land, this land is my land.
From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me.
Sierra Club members have been vocal in elections for years.
This land is your land.
In 2016, join us and make your voice heard.
Attorney J. Justin Meehan has been fighting for justice and providing legal service to the community for 40 years. He has won numerous awards for civil rights advocacy and community service. Attorney J. Justin Meehan offers free consultation on matters regarding civil rights, marijuana and drug offenses, workplace and accidental injuries, both in Missouri and Illinois. You can contact Attorney Justin Meehan at 314-772-9494 or online at jjustinmeehan.com. Call now for your free consultation.
The Sierra Club is the largest and most influential grassroots environmental organization in the United States. If you care about clean air, clean water, and preserving open space, join the Sierra Club. In Missouri, the Sierra Club's projects include promoting energy efficiency and clean power sources like wind and solar, cleaning up air pollution by retiring dirty, outdated, coal-fired power plants, protecting Missouri's parks like the Ozark National Scenic Riverways. We need you to get more involved. To join the Sierra Club, make a donation, or to find out about Sierra Club events in your area, visit our website at www.missouri.sierraclub.org or call us at 314-644-1011.
Hello and welcome back to Green Time. On today's episode, we're talking about residential energy efficiency and what you can do with the help of rebates from the utility companies to make your home more energy efficient. We have two guests who are talking about their personal experiences here in Missouri. Steve Mahfood, thanks for being with us again, Steve.
Thank you.
Jim Jordan, thanks for being with us. And right before the break, Jim, you were going to respond to something Steve said.
Yeah. So you mentioned with new construction, it would be easier. Since I designed the house to be very energy efficient, to be tight, use 2x6 as an insulation and well insulation in the roof, I did check into geothermal. And back then, 13 years ago, it would have been a 40-year payback just to pay back for the installation, even in new construction. Now, the cost has gone down, and it may not be the case today, but the contractor said, go with not the highest HVAC, but go quite high, so I have 97.5% efficient HVAC, and that was very adequate. I was able to buy a smaller system, and that worked, really well for us.
When you talk about 97.5, for people in TV land who don't know what you're talking about, what does that mean?
If you have say like a 15, 20-year-old furnace air conditioner, it's probably going to be closer to 75, 70, 80% efficient. So the higher the efficiency, the less energy it takes to heat your house or cool it. And a good way to think about it is the old-fashioned furnaces, gas furnaces, you had the furnace and you sent a lot of hot air up a chimney and it had to be insulated. Today, higher efficiency, there's so little heat from a furnace going outside that it's just through a PVC pipe. So they're capturing all that energy and putting it into the house either as heat or air conditioning, cooling, instead of sending it back outside.
So if somebody's looking for to buy a furnace, there's a number associated with it where 100 is a theoretical top, but if you're looking at furnaces in the 95, 97, 98 range, then you're seeing what's likely a huge jump up from your existing furnace.
Right.
Assuming it's, a 30-year-old furnace or a 20-year-old furnace or what have you.
Plus the rebates, if and when they come back or as they were utilized, would only really help you if you had these high efficiency units. I mean, that was the whole incentive with that, was to get you to move into and do the right thing.
Exactly. And that's the good thing is the Ameren has renewed their rebate program, kicked off it again in April of 2016. And so, but let's say somebody thinks, oh, great idea. Where do I get details? How did you find out about these various rebates you were able to take advantage of?
Well, it took some phone calling, it just being inquisitive, and of course the internet. There's just a wealth of information available on the internet, and interestingly enough, where I live, I don't have internet, if you can believe that, and I'm in the St. Louis area. I thought
everybody had internet in St. Louis.
I can use a hotspot for very low-level use, but to print things and I have to go to a library. So I would encourage people who do not have access to a computing facility or have a serious smartphone. There's plenty of opportunity to use our library system in the St. Louis area, and I know we've got some great resources. And you get online, you'll find amazing amount of information and all the information you need to access these programs.
Right. And then if you're in or close to, say, some of the urban areas, many of them will have celebrations like Earth Day or other festivals. And it's a great family festival to go and have fun, but then a lot of energy conservation providers will be there. And you can go and ask questions and get information from a couple different people. And that's a nice way. Internet, it's hard to do interactivity, question, answer. But to do it in, to talking to somebody person to person, they'll say something that'll spark a question, and then you can really delve deeper and get a better sense.
Yeah, I did that. I was at St. Louis Earth Day a couple years ago, and I was looking at water conservation, water efficiency, and talked to a couple people about rain barrels. And I learned much more in conversation than the internet, although I'm on the internet all day long, it seems like. And I learn a lot that way too, but I'm like, I think what you're saying, Jim, makes a lot of sense. And another source of information that's along those lines is contractors.
Oh, yeah.
And what I did with my furnace system is I went to the Sheet Metal Workers Local 36. I looked at union contractors because I wanted contractors that have been in business for a while. Yes. And you can't tell them the yellow pages who opened last week and who's going to shut next week. But that was one way to find out who's got trained workers that have stability and have some level of expertise, and then had some of those contractors come in and say, oh, given your house, this is how efficient your furnace is, this is how old it is. And I think in many cases, those contractors are also very familiar with the utility rebate programs because that's a key part of their marketing effort.
Right. And I would recommend, if you have the time, to get multiple bids. Bids are almost always free. And that's what I did in my solar house. And I actually got 5 bids. And the difference in the price range was really very surprising to me. and also the difference in what they did. So get different bids, talk through them, so you're making the best choice for your structure.
Good idea. Good idea. Now, Steve, you've got experience not only in doing energy efficiency at your own home, but you've got experience understanding broad-scale energy efficiency programs. What are some of the things that really struck you doing it in your own home that you think would be really relevant for somebody who's maybe at the beginning of the process that
Right.
you embarked on?
Well, I think one of the most important things is what Jim described earlier, and that is a dollar spent on energy efficiency is a dollar that saves multiple dollars in expenditure on either equipment or fossil fuel, and really puts off and delays the need to do some things that technologically might be very expensive to do for your house by simply investing in energy efficiency. And all those years of working in the energy arena, it's always been distressing to me that people don't get that. Mm-hmm. And it's been a mantra of a lot of folks. Get yourself, your house, your life, get that energy efficiency right out front. Be an energy conserving individual, make that commitment, and then you don't have to change your lifestyle. In fact, it improves your lifestyle. And was that kind of thinking and all the other work that I had done in the past in the energy arena really simplifies itself down to really confirming that that's the approach to take. And then once you make that commitment, get the information both available on the internet and personally and meeting with people, you'll have enough information to do the larger changes and the more expensive things that have to be done. But you fulfill the big picture when you make a commitment to efficiency and conservation. That's the where the road starts.
Okay, good. Okay, well, let's take one more short break. You don't want to spend all your time doing energy efficiency projects. You want to spend some time hiking and canoeing. We're going to watch a short video about Sierra Club outings so you can get out yourself. We'll be right back.
I'm really excited, also a little nervous, first day.
It just feels really good. Like, it's so hard on the way up sometimes. And then like you get to the top and you're looking out over something that people don't get to see in their whole life.
Every time I come into a natural environment like this, it's an opportunity to reset. It's an opportunity to reevaluate what's important.
It's just really cool because we're hiking along, chatting. There's no pressure to get to know anybody, but we end up just having these really great, natural, flowing conversations.
Seeing your shooting star for the first time, then waking up to the Grand Tetons at sunrise, that just kind of hit something inside of me that I never even knew I had.
First reaction? You get that sense of accomplishment. You know, at the end of every day, you're typically walking away seeing what you've completed.
As soon as you crest any peak, you can see what has been hidden from you the entire time. That's awesome, and that will never get old.
What if we were served a side of truth?
I'll take a super bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Okay, that'll be meat from a pig who can't even turn around, an egg from a bird kept in a cage so small she can't spread her wings, and the milk of a cow whose calf is taken at birth to make veal. Ma'am?
Since 1990, the Gateway Green Alliance has worked on environmental and social justice campaigns in St. Louis.
The Gateway Greens have brought dedicated activists to speak at Black and Green Wednesday programs, the annual Pesto Feast, Martin Luther King Day, May Day, and Kwanzaa celebrations.
The Gateway Green Alliance is best known for opposing genetically contaminated foods. We invite activists and scholars from around the world to participate in safe food action and bring their creative art.
We need your support to keep going. Please send your $60 membership check or your $30 low-income check. Best of all, come to a Black and Green Wednesday program, 7:30 p.m. on the first Wednesday of the month at Legacy Books and Cafe.
Hello and welcome back to Green Time. I'm your host, John Hickey with the Missouri Sierra Club. Today's episode, we're talking about residential energy efficiency with two folks telling their story of what they did. Steve Mahfood, Jim Jordan, thanks again for being with us.
Right.
At the break, you had something you wanted to add, Jim.
Yeah. What most people don't think about or consider is the rate increases that happen for electricity and gas every year. So if you do something like solar or you do something with energy conservation, you've basically locked in at a rate that can increase by up to 10% every year. So that in and of itself is a huge saving over time. The other thing I'd like to mention, because we've been talking about tightening up your house. If your house gets too tight, you can have sick building syndrome, and that is something that can be a concern, but there are now technological devices that will help ventilate your house and still keep the energy inside the house, so you aren't losing energy. And I installed one because my son is medically frail, and it only cost about $1,500, and I know that the house air is clean and safe for both of us, yet I can save energy on energy efficiency.
Okay, that's a good point, and an important new technology as we get more efficient envelopes. Mm-hmm. Steve, what would you leave us with?
I would just say, get people to be motivated. Don't just talk about it or talk about saying, I'll do this in the future. There are programs coming online, property assessed clean energy programs. It's called PACE. Look for that to start happening where we can fund energy improvements to homes. The rebates coming back.
So
get started. Don't just talk about it and listen to the three of us. Get out and really do something.
There you go. So you heard it. Get started on energy efficiency. We'll see you next week.